Welcome everybody to the first in a series of monthly department recruitment coordinator meeting to kind of break the ice, think back to the first day on the job, and it could be here at Boise State, or it could be your first day on the paper route when you were 11 years old. But think of your best first day on the job experience. Just a memory about that, and type into the chat what made it so good, what made it memorable. Why do you consider it being one of the best first days that you ever had? All right, cool. Boss took me to lunch, got an agenda and a welcome board, welcome basket, your dream job. Nice. Tour and introductions to staff. Absolutely. Oh, Alexis, you started the first day after we won the Fiesta Bowl. Interesting. The first one, the 2007. I was at that game. So I'm seeing a lot of comments about having resources at the ready and having somebody who is there to introduce you, makes you feel important, makes it feel like, wow, these people care. You know, I'm not just being told, here's my chair and here's your phone and good luck. So that is definitely the theme, a welcoming type of experience, which oddly enough, I see people saying welcoming, feeling welcome. Oddly enough, that's why we're called the HR Welcome Team, because that's the part of the employee experience that we are involved with, that we want to try and maximize people's enjoyment, make them feel welcome. And that starts from right when they apply for the job all the way into the first few weeks of their job. So these are great responses. I can't keep up with them. Somebody said when they walked into the office, the boss said, "You're way too overdressed to work here." That's a very welcoming message. Very good. Thank you, everybody, for the amazing feedback. You never know when you do these meetings if it's going to be crickets or if people are going to engage. So looks like we got a lively crowd, which is awesome. So you may be wondering, should I be in this meeting? Is this content going to be relevant? Is it going to be fun for 10 minutes and then boredom the next 50? The answer to that question is it depends. For myself and all of us on the welcome team, and really everybody, we want our time's valuable, right? And Lord knows we have enough Zoom meetings every day. So one of the things I always worry about is, okay, if we're going to do something like this, we have to make it relevant. And some folks will come to the first meeting and find out that the content that we're going to cover may not be relevant to their current role. Maybe you aren't really involved that much or intimately into the nuts and bolts of the hiring process. If you're curious and just want to hear and see a little bit about Page Up and what we're doing, totally cool to stay on the call. But we do respect everyone's time, and so we do want to make sure that people know what this is going to be all about, and make sure that everyone knows that we respect your time and want this to be relevant to current affairs, current topics, those types of things. So number one, we just want to stay in touch. We don't often see each other on campus. The communication has been a little bit more of a challenge with remote work. A lot of times we might communicate just by email or instant message for weeks at a time. So we want to open up another 1-hour venue every month where we can see you, you can see us, you can talk to us, and we can stay in touch with everybody and hear current issues and stuff that's going on. We do also want to keep kind of an ongoing dialogue about hiring topics, Page Up being one of the main topics, but there can be other questions, issues, confusion, or ideas, opportunities to improve things. We don't know those things if we're just sitting in our little bubble in HR and we're not interacting with people, the users, our customers. So an ongoing dialogue is really, to us, really critical, not only to communicate with you, but to hear the feedback and input that you have. And then also, too, another purpose of this is to provide an open forum. Of course, we expect that we'll get some questions from all of you. And Also, we want to use the time to hear your ideas. And there's also the opportunity where you can hear your colleagues or see what questions they're asking, what areas they're maybe needing support. Maybe someone in another department on campus figured out a solution to something that you can go, oh, wow, that might work for us. And even if we can kind of create a community of practice in a way where you all can reach out to each other saying, hey, you had asked about this issue. Did you guys get that figured out? Yes, we did. Here's what we did, So we want it to be open. We're all on the same team. We all are trying to do a good job. We're all trying to bring talented people onto campus. So I think it's best if we try and work together and build off each other's ideas and solve all of our problems and issues collectively. I think it would provide a lot more value to all of us. So these are the big priorities that we had in mind. So we are proud to start this new monthly session. A few housekeeping items and a quick update. So this session will be recorded. So how we're going to do this is, I think Casey's already hit the record button. So there will be people that aren't able to attend. There's also going to be situations where we talk through a subject during the session, and maybe we go through it fairly quickly, or maybe you just happen to miss it. You were taking notes and didn't hear what happened. Having a recording of this, if we're covering a topic that you're really interested in, but you just didn't catch everything, having a recording you can go back to and listen to, make notes on, I think will provide everyone a lot of value for being involved with this. So what we'll do is we'll send out a copy of the recording of this session to everybody that's included on the meeting invite. So all of you will get it, whether you've attended or not, and we hope that's helpful. We'll also include a recap email that will include kind of a summary, some brief comments about what we talked about in this session and what transpired, just to kind of keep a continuity going. So the format for this session really kind of looks like this. I'm going to eventually close my mouth and stop talking, and we'll get to the good part of this session. We're going to go through a few specific topics, items that we've heard a lot about from all of you, and hopefully relevant current issues. Also, we're looking at what are some ways that we can really help departments, hiring managers, navigate certain parts that they may be having trouble with, either with page up or some other associated procedures with hiring. So we're going to try to make it high relevance, high value, give you some current tips and tricks. We'll have a main learning segment of this session that will cover how to submit and coordinate the requisition submittal creation process. So that's those first critical steps. If you do things well, if you do it right, I guess at first, and you understand kind of how everything ties together, that will make the next few steps a lot smoother. And we want to try and help prevent any delays or any confusion in those first few critical steps with the requisition. So Ashton's going to discuss those items with you as well. We will be monitoring questions and comments in the Zoom chat. We're going to try to, at the end of each segment, invite you to ask any questions, and then we'll also just kind of keep an eye on questions as they come into chat. If you have a question and you'd like to try and get it addressed during the session, just type it into the chat box, and we will be monitoring those and try to answer as many questions as we can. In the meeting invite, I also want to mention that there is a link in that invite, and there will be in every invite every month, where you can click the link and submit a question before the meeting even happens. So if you're 2 or 3 weeks before the meeting, you can go into the meeting invite, click that link, and submit a question if you're like, well, I want to make sure we try and hope they can address this issue. That's, of course, if you think you can wait, you don't need to call us right away. feel free to put it on the record, so to speak, as a question for this meeting. So you can pre-submit questions using that link in the meeting invite. A quick update, we have had some questions over the last probably month. People asking, is the hiring freeze still in effect? Yes, it is. It went into effect, I'm trying to think here, March or April of last year. Campus collectively has done a great job in following, the checkpoints and approval processes, and departments and colleges have all made arrangements and kind of have their own procedures on, making sure we get that additional approval for the hiring freeze. Everything seems to be working pretty smoothly. So the hiring freeze is still in effect, so keep doing what you're doing. And if we hear an update, if anything changes, of course, that will be communicated to all of you as quickly as possible. As far as the hiring freeze information, if you go to our How to Hire page, you will see the step-by-step section. When you click on number 1 before you begin, it will lead you to some instructions. And the first thing of note is that the hiring freeze is still in effect. If you need information about the freeze, like what does it apply to, what does it cover, what's the process on getting approval, you can click that link, and then there's a direct link to the hiring freeze exception request form. So again, that's just an update. Yes, we're still working, we're still under a hiring freeze and having additional review of hiring requests. So that will continue until we're notified otherwise. All right. Okay, so that's housekeeping and updates. All right, next step here. So as I said earlier, we are the welcome team. We are responsible for locating, attracting, and helping you hire the best, most talented, diverse candidates that we can find, and making them feel welcome from the first interaction that we have with them, whether that's an email, whether that's they saw our job opening and they contacted us with a question. All of those interactions, the interview process, when they come into HR to do their I-9, when they report to work the first day, we want that employee to experience people who care about them, people who are enthusiastic about them starting work, people who are giving them resources at every step of the way. They're providing the right information at the right time. They're introducing them to others. Making people, that's how you get a human being engaged in the workplace. And that is what the welcome team is focused on, is super high quality, finding the right people and then treating them like gold all the way into the first few weeks of their job. So anything that the welcome team can do to support that, that's our mission. Our team members, you'll see here, the ugly fellow in the upper left is me. I'm Jordy Lepiani. I've been at BSU since February of 08, so almost 13 years, I guess. And so I've been here a while. And so what we're going to do is kind of go around the horn here, and we're going to have everybody tell who they are, what their function is, and what's the last movie or series that they've watched that they thought was pretty awesome. So I can start with me. So my Jordy Lepiani, welcome team leader, and the last movie or series I enjoyed was a movie called Lone Survivor. Many of you have probably seen it, Mark Wahlberg, and a very intense movie. I like war movies, and really heart-wrenching story as well. So anyway, that's me. So I'll pass the baton here to our other team members, and feel free to step up, team, and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Adam Cuneo. I'm a recruiter in the HR department in the welcome team, and happy to be here. The last series, or I'm almost ready to conclude here, a series on Netflix called Kim's Convenience. It takes place in Canada, And it's a Korean family that runs a convenience store, and it is absolutely hilarious. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
I'll go next. Thanks, Adam. I'm Ashton, now Hadley. I know some of you probably had some bounce back emails as I try to change my name. Apologies for that. I was really scared of the X-Files when I was a kid, so I'm finally ready to be her again, and I just restarted it from the beginning. Even the music gives me chills, so that's my fun fact.
I'm Chris Urea, and I'm the operations manager for the Welcome Team. And the series I've watched most recently was Ted Lasso. It's a good laugh, and I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I am a human resource specialist, part of the Welcome Team. And something that I'm currently watching, almost done with, is Billions on Showtime. It's very interesting if you haven't watched it.
All right. Is that everybody?
I don't know if Kayla has audio.
Oh.
You might need to introduce her, Jordy.
Okay. Kayla has joined us, let's see, it's a couple months, I think. She's the new, well, not necessarily the newest member, Adam, I guess, right? One of the newest members to our team. She works in our crazy busy front office, kind of that first point of contact, either by phone, in person. And it is always, well, these days it's a little bit different, but usually the front office of HR is a flurry of action. So Kayla has joined us, and she just fits in so awesome with our team. And we're just thrilled to have her. She's picking things up really quick. So she's, I think, a title HR associate. We're not big on titles in HR, so we don't talk about them a lot. But yeah, we're thrilled to have Kayla on the team. So hopefully that was a good introduction for Kayla. All right.
So Jordy, before you take off, you had a question and comment asking for a little bit of clarity on the hiring freeze.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. So it depends what you want to know, but we have essentially steps that departments are required to go through, and really, for the most part, they aren't necessarily HR's requirements. That every division in college has kind of arranged, or over time has kind of assembled an approval or hiring review process. So typically, that will either go to, if it's a college, eventually, most likely the dean's office, and then depending on the type of position, that may also include provost approval. And then for professional positions, the processes will differ a little bit depending on what your area is doing, or your college. There really isn't a kind of standard one-size-fits-all exact written procedure for every area and department and college on campus. But if you connect with either your director, your VP's office, your dean's office, department chair, those individuals are likely very familiar with, yes, for these types of positions, here's who has to sign off. So, also too, want to make a comment that positions that are 100% grant funded do not need to go through the hiring freeze approval process. So if it's 100% grant funded, no hiring freeze approval is required.
Rock.
All
You
right.
rock, Jordy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Oh, okay. So now I got to say, before I go to the next slide, Chris Urea, who is our awesome Welcome Team operations manager, is going to present a couple of pro tips, tricks of the trade, hot tips, whatever you want to call them. There's always ways to do things a little better, or places that you can find information where it's like, oh, I didn't know that information was there. So Chris, what we're going to try to do in these sessions is give you a couple quick hitter pro tips. Hey, keep this in mind. And then once Chris is done, we'll get more into talking about creating requisition and page up and some of the critical steps that we found that can help move all that first part of that process along a lot faster. So I will stop talking and I will hand the baton to Chris, and take it away, Chris.
Thanks, Jordy. Fantastic to see everybody here today. Can you believe it? It's almost been a year since Page Up has been in action. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our tips here. One of the things to know, some of you have recruited quite a bit now and are using the job aids all the time, or you've got it down pat, but just to let you know, the job aids are living documents and updated each time we find a better way, or maybe you come up with something and give us a suggestion as well. We keep those job aids up to date. For those of you who haven't even touched Page Up yet, we'll show you where the job aids live in the next section. Our pro tip is to remember when you're getting to the very bottom of the requisition here and the second talent acquisition box, be sure to put your specialist or whoever you're working with in this box, or else we do not have access to your requisition or can't see it. So if you give us a call and say, where's, I'm looking for this, and we say we haven't seen it, it's probably because our name is not here. Any questions on that one? All right. Our next section, how to get to Page Up. I think most everybody has gotten there now who needs to, but to remember, there are two ways to get there. One, you can go to Bronco Hub when you log in and go to My Organization, and there is the little Page Up icon there, or you can also go to our How to Hire webpage. Speaking of that, we're going to walk through where the job aids are in their location. Remember, as a DRC, you are a department recruitment coordinator. You are that person who coordinates recruiting for your college or your area. You're the hiring expert for that group. But if you need resources, here they are located out on our website. So again, our How to Hire page, as Jordy showed you, this blue link takes you to the job aids. Or you can, here's the login to Page Up from this page. Or you can also go on these step-by-steps. So again, if you're here and want to get to the job aid, you can click on here and they're all listed. Page Up training and materials, all these blue links here. Or you can also, on our, say, step 1, before you begin, you see what Jordy showed before, the hiring freeze and the exception form, also the different steps to take to start, getting that approval with department leadership, confirming with the budget office that you have funds, maybe even starting with comp and class if you need a new position or PCN established. And then at the bottom of this section, you have links to the forms and the Page Up training materials and job aids here. I see a few questions. Is there anything relevant to this right here, Maddie?
Chris, if you could just show us how on the How to Hire page, how to see who the recruiter is for each department.
All right, should be under this Contact Us.
Chris, if you go to the bottom of the How to Hire page, it's also on that.
Move it. Okay, it's also here. Casey is our website manager, by the way. So she's in charge of that and keeping us up to date and organized here. So yes, here's our groups and here's where your department assignments are located. Anything else?
Right. Chris, this is Kristen with the mathematics department. Mm-hmm. And I just have a quick question on those, on the contacts, because I was looking the other day and I've been working with Ashton, but I don't believe the College of Arts and Sciences is listed under her name. Am I working with the right person?
Yes, you are for now. We have not updated everybody's groups I know Abel moved over to the growth team, and so his groups have mainly been taken over by Ashton. I've done some as well. So you're good for now, Kristen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now we're ready for a poll. And this is about the job aids. We'd like to know, which of our job aids do you use the most? You want to go ahead and log in there. And then we also have a second question. Which one would you most want to be in video form? This is something that we were going to get started on and just kind of wanted to get your response on that. Give you a couple minutes there.
Assume if you're brand new to this, you don't have anything to select.
Lucky you.
All righty, another minute on that one. So far, creative requisition is winning. Offer card is close behind. All righty. We will end the polling now. Let's see. So it looks like creative requisition is one that people use the most. And then also that would be the one most helpful to be in video form. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Ashton next, and she's going to go further into how to do a requisition and walk you through some steps there.
All right, almost seamless transition there between co-hosts. We're still working on that. My section today, and kind of the bulk of the overview that we're going to be doing, we thought was a good topic to kick this off. Just some of the most common errors that we see, or some of the things that will hold up your requisition from being posted or moving through the process as quickly as possible. So we are going to start on a new page that was implemented with the implementation of PageUp and using our job standards, which is a job standards listing page. Watch me fumble with my pages. All right, so there are a couple different ways that you can search for your job standard when you're ready to begin a requisition. And that is probably the question I hear the most is, I can't find my job standard. I searched, I can't find the title. And the trick to that is that all of our jobs have job codes. And sometimes the job code title is different than the business title. So there are a few ways to find your job code, which will equal quickly finding your job standard and allowing you to move through your requisition more quickly. So here I have, you should be looking at, this is a copy of a comp and class form. These are very common. If you need a PCN created, the comp team will take your materials, they'll generate this email that they'll send to you. And you'll see here that they do provide you with your job code. They also provide you with your job code title. So these are two good pieces of information that you can use to find your job standard. The second way you can find your job code is by going to our job standards listing page and just doing a search. So for our example here, we are using a postdoctoral research scholar position. So I did a partial search, the word post, it pulls up the correct, I'm matching the job code here. So through both of these ways, you can then move into PageUp to find your correct job standard. So we'll navigate to manage position descriptions. And a good pro tip for using this page is to go ahead and clear all of your search parameters. When you log back into PageUp, it will actually remember what you had searched in the previous time, and it can impede your ability to search. So another pro tip here, using the roll number to search your job code will pull up the correct positions. We're going to test this right now. You can see 44705 under roll number pulls up the correct standard. But we're going to do it the other way as well. Classification title is how you can search for your job title. So we'll go here, and again, you can even just do a partial search, and we can see 44705. Again, it has pulled up the correct standard. So we are going to walk through some further pro tips on the job card. So we'll go here. A question that I get quite often is the job code title pulled up. We have a previously approved business title that we would like to use. So here you'll see I'm spoofing a DRC account. So the access that you are viewing now is how you would see it if you were working in the system as well. So in this case, to change a job title, you can quickly type the desired business title, and we do want to make sure that the business title makes sense and it doesn't say wizard or anything that would be off script. These would be generally used business titles. So that's the first item that I get the most questions on. The second item that we see is under this Teams feature. If you miss this drop down, it will actually put your job under unassigned team. Unassigned teams are viewable by every person who has access, DRC access to PageUp on campus. So you would want to make sure that you are going to go ahead and put this under your own team. You know, the registrar's office is hiring a postdoc because who knows. So you'll want to make sure you make that change. We're going to move on to the third highest number of questions, and that is under the number of openings feature. This box is a little counterintuitive, I will admit, but how you would use this is you determine, is your position brand new or did someone leave and you're backfilling it? When you determine what type of position you're recruiting for, you'll go ahead and put the number 1 in this box and you'll hit add more. This box will populate as many lines as you put in here. So I've had some people who will put their PCN in here that, you know, depending on the number, could create quite a few lines that you would then have to delete. So here you would populate your PCN, and if this box, if you haven't actually pulled it open and created and added your PCN, it will not route for approval. It will continue to give you an error message, and it'll continue to give you those red asterisks. Chris mentioned this earlier, but it's something that I see so commonly that I would really love to call it out again. So I apologize for double dipping. But it's these boxes here and actually routing a requisition for approval. I've had quite a few conversations with departments on this fund manager box. They'll say sometimes, I don't know who my fund manager is, or I'm the fund manager, should I put myself? And what we've come to determine is that this fund manager box will grant view-only access to this one person in your department. So if you have a centralized hiring system and there's really one person who would need overview on all the requisitions of your area, you would want to go ahead and populate their name in this box. So think of it as allowing someone access, and it will place this job on their dashboard. The initiator box, you'll see here, it's populated my name because I started this requisition. So you, as you're creating requisitions, will want to leave your name in this box as well. And this allows you access to the requisition, and it allows you to actually perform your duties as a DRC. The last box we're going to address here is our approval process. So this is pretty straightforward. Based on the type of hire that you're looking to make is the approval workflow that you will select. When you open this box here, these are open so that you may populate the names of who should be in these boxes. So for our purposes right now, I'm just going to put myself. Another page up pro tip, if you type someone's name and you've spelled it correctly, if you hit the tab button, it will just populate their email so that you know you've found the right person and you don't have to actually search. Anywhere you see a talent acquisition box, you are going to want to make sure that your recruiter's name is in this box. So you'll see, because we've populated this requisition, it has the name Noreen Camacho. So Noreen uploaded this job standard and her name has come auto-populated. Something that we run into that can cause issues is that if, as the recruiter, my name is not in this box, I'll get a panicked message from a manager saying, where is my job? Will you post it? What's going on with it, basically. And because it has not been in my queue, I haven't been able to view it. So that's just something that will, in one swoop, make it much easier for your requisition to get through the approval process and to get approved. The last feature I'm going to point out today is also a very important one for streamlining your requisition process, and that is using the notes feature. So under the notes feature, and we've updated this in the create a requisition job aid to try and make it very clear that that's where this information should live. But the notes feature is the way that you will communicate to your recruiter how long you'd like the position to be posted, and if you would like to include salary information in that, in that post. So you can see that if you route your requisition for approval, that information has not been populated. That will then create a new step where I have to reach out to you or you have to reach out to me. And if I have it here in the requisition, then I can immediately look here in the notes and I can move forward with posting without that additional step. So I know that was a lot of information and I probably said it pretty quickly. So at this time, I'm gonna hand share back over to Jordy and we will start to address some questions.
Question real quick. We had 2 good questions come in.
Okay.
The first one is, how do I check the status of the approval workflow for the requisition?
Oh, excellent. Excellent question. Jordy, I'm going to take share back. I apologize. This is really neat. So we'll go back to my recruiter dashboard. But DRCs as initiators can, at any point, your dashboard will look much like this, but maybe not as busy. So for your dashboard, if you click on the job, we'll let it load here. And you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see this position has already been fully approved, but if you kick off your rec and you're curious where it is in the approval process, you can actually watch the approvals happen in real time, right from basically the front page of the job card. Was there another question, Maddie?
Yes. Does the fund manager have to approve anything, or will this just give them access to see the requisition?
The fund manager box on the job card is a view only access, so they'll be able to view it, but the fund manager does step back in for approvals when we get to that final offer process. So they will have the ability to approve or decline the final number, but they'll be able to view the requisition as it's created.
Perfect. And then one more. What is the difference between the job code title and business title?
So sometimes the job code title is not very appetizing. We only have so many characters in our current state with PeopleSoft. So sometimes the job code title could be really abbreviated and really scrunched. And when you come to your requisition and you'd like a pretty non-abbreviated job title, that's where you can go ahead and write out the extended job title. Or in an example that I've seen recently, we were hiring for, the basis of the job was a technical records specialist 2, but the department wanted to give it a business title of scholarships assistant because that is more descriptive and more accurate to the job that that person would be doing. So that's kind of an overview of that.
All right, we got some more coming in. These are great, everyone. Ashton or Chris, the next one is, how can I check the approval workflow on the offer letter?
Nice. Do you want to take that one, Chris, or should I take that one? Oh no, I'm looking at my email.
Sure. So basically that is the same as the requisition. If you look at the very bottom at the approvals on the offer card, you can see it there.
We'll take a look. Should we look at a real offer?
So if you find your candidate, and then that offer incomplete, if you click on that, you can go down to the very bottom of the offer and see where the approval's at. So there you go, it's fully approved. And the status they're in, he was in written offer sent. That means that the offer letter's gone out for the person and they're waiting, we're waiting for them to accept it.
All right. I think we're probably ready to hand share back over, Jordy.
All right. Okay, so we've kind of already gotten into the next portion, or the final portion of our 1 hour session, and I told you all we go quick, and it has gone fast. We do have I believe we have one pre-submitted question and actually it's a question that we've gotten a lot. We've had a lot of inquiries about this topic, and so the question is, let's see. It would be helpful to let search committees know what the various icons mean. I saw the blue bell is for veterans on one of the job aids, but I'm not sure what the purple and yellow smiley faces imply. So we'll start with this one. I think I'll have Ashton respond to this one real quick, and then we'll look at other questions that have come into the chat and try to get as many questions as we can get done here in the next 11 minutes and 42 seconds.
All right, so quickly I'll share one more time and we'll take a look back into PageUp. So these smiley faces, the yellow smiley face means that they are a current employee. The purple smiley faces that you'll see mean that they're a previous employee. But you don't have to remember that information, because if you hover over any icon that you see, PageUp has some pretty neat functionality where it will pop up a little tag to tell you what it is. So that's on these. And then the flags, again, if you hover over it, it will tell you what it is. But if you use this drop down on the flags feature, it will give you a reference for each of the flags that you might see in your applicant pool. All right, I'll hand it back over, Doherty.
All right, great. Let's see here. What other questions do we have that have not been answered? No job codes. right. I'm not sure if we have, I think we may have addressed all of the questions in the chat, unless I'm missing something here.
Jordy, I just got one that came through.
Okay.
Who needs to approve changes to a business title?
So that would depend. Now it depends what department we're talking about. Everything always depends, and I always hate saying that word, but it does depend. If it's a change in job title, usually that's going to start with a compensation and classification request form, and usually we'll ask somebody to provide a current copy of the job description. Usually if the title's changing, there's probably something going on with the job duties. Even if it's just, hey, we want to give it the correct title, the job description's fine. Usually the description will be included, and we'll ask to our compensation classification team, which is Kevin Ross and Noreen Camacho, will probably request that. And then once we go through the approval process, we also want to make sure that, and we'll probably mention it to you, that you may also check with up through your own department approvals. If you need budget approval, if it's going to involve a salary increase or something to that effect. There's a lot of different ways it could go, but a great starting point and people that'll give you guidance and direction and instructions will be Kevin and Noreen and our compensation classification team. More questions? So is awkward silence. Scary.
Yes,
all right.
We've got
Do we
a few
have
more.
a list? Yeah, I see there's one. Do we have a list of who has taken the search committee training? We're trying to keep track of this in our unit. Yes, we've gotten that inquiry from other departments as well. Chris or Ashton, I can't recall what the latest was on, do we track that, or is that, do we give the department a tool in which they can do that?
Yes, we have just updated that list, and I can share it with all DRCs, and that's ongoing with our new online search committee training.
All right, great. Oh, another good question. Is there an estimated timeline available for all the steps required in the hiring process? We can provide a timeline, but the range will be so big that it'd be pretty much a useless.
Did everybody else lose Jordy for a second? Okay, Jordy, can you start from the top of your question?
Yes, sorry about that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? So the question is there an estimated timeline available for the steps of the hiring process? We can provide an estimate, which is, it depends on the type of position and a slew of other factors. I'm just trying to remember the last time I saw reporting information on how long searches take to get done. I've seen anywhere from 7 to 12 weeks, which probably doesn't really help you that much because that is a massive range. But I would say, you know, for the most part, we try to do everything we can to get this process done and get out of your way so that you can approve things, so that you can do interviews, so that you can make a job offer. We've really tried to try and accelerate to get that process down. But a good hiring process also takes time. And sometimes, you know, we do need to make sure we're doing things correctly and maybe not just quickly. It's trying to blend both of those, find a balance between let's do it quickly and let's do it right. So the range, there's a big variance, and it really just depends on the situation. Okay, Maya suggested it would be good to have the names of people that have taken search committee training somewhere on our website so that they can check to see who has done it. Thank you for that suggestion. We will talk about that. That's actually something we have talked about. Why don't we just publish it? I think we might need to check with some folks to make sure that would sit okay with a lot of different people. So,
Jordy, Abby had a good question that might have been kind of lost in the fray. How long does it take for an approved comp and class position to show up in PageUp? If the job standard already exists, then it takes no time. If the job standard has just been created, it is a fully manual process, so that can take from 2 to 4 days usually.
All right, so we'll just keep an eye on the questions here. As we're winding down, I'll just kind of give you all a quick, first of all, thank you for your time. And we hope this has been valuable to most of you, if not all of you who have attended. We are going to get better at doing this. We are going to hear your suggestions, hopefully some good, but we'll take all the bad. Can improve this. Let's hear it. We want to make it, again, highly relevant, efficient, and useful. It's like we want you to come away with info that you're like, I can use this. I can use it today or tomorrow or next week. So want to make it relevant. Our next session is going to be February 11th from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to send out the invite. We're going to send out a recap of today's session, as Casey mentioned in the chat. We're going to include a link or a way to get the recording of this session. Whether you attended or not, we're going to send it to all invitees. We'll also be sending out the invite for the next meeting, February 11th, hopefully as soon as possible. And again, it's got that link in the description where you can submit questions ahead of time, and then we can kind of get more organized at the session and try to hammer out as many as we can. Seems like we're done.
We'll be on the line for the next 3 minutes if you want to talk to us one-off. Otherwise, enjoy 3 minutes before 3 o'clock, folks. And thank you so much for your participation. You really were wonderful.